And of course, I'm JD April with Slate and Search Partners. I'm very excited today to have Melissa Kivett from Prudential joining us to talk about customer experience and how it's impacting the insurance industry and Prudential. So Melissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey Jay, great to see you. Thanks for having me in this non-traditional Zoom from both of our homes.
Right.
So yeah, I lead a marketing, customer experience, and insight team at Prudential, and it's really been such a fun opportunity to really think differently in the financial services sector about how you can actually win on experience as a way to differentiate your company and think differently about what we're doing, not only for our customers, but also for our financial professionals. And so in our business, we think broadly about experience and think not just about the experience with our end customers, but also everything and in between, end to end, and kind of holistically.
It's interesting, right? So I've been in the insurance industry for about 25 years, and traditionally insurance is thought of as a product that's a set it and forget it product, right? You pay your premium, and when you have a claim, it gets adjudicated. But between those two events, nothing really happens. So what does it mean to create a strong customer experience?
I think it's a great opportunity, and you can see that consumers are changing their views about what they expect from us and what an experience really is. As you said, a customer historically has thought about the importance of buying a product, and what's really changed is that people put so much weight. Over 70% of customers will tell you that the experience matters as much, if not more, than the product itself. And so expectations are higher. And I think what that means for companies is that we have to think differently around what we're doing to not only develop great products, but also to develop great experiences. And when we think about what the experience is, it's interesting. I think a lot of people will think, okay, it's just about service. It's just about making sure that we service a product and service it well. And that's obviously a really important part of the experience. But I think at Prudential, we think more broadly, and we think about it being everything from that first moment that you are thinking about interacting with that company. And so, an example, I love to look at other industries for ideas. And like if you look at a company like Delta, they realize that your experience flying isn't just buying that plane ticket. And it isn't just the experience on the plane. It's the experience of the food that you're eating. It's your experience through TSA. And so you can see Delta was one of the early investors in the Clear program, because they realized that from a customer's end-to-end view of the experience, it really is everything on that journey. And so I think as companies think about how do you actually lead and win an experience, it's important to think beyond the product. Our customers are thinking beyond the product, and for us to think holistically around all those different points of contact, or the lingo we often use is what are those moments that matter, that really matter to our customers, and figuring out, how, even if, quote, in the Delta example, you don't own them, how you can actually influence them to help drive a better experience for your customers.
So in the insurance industry, what's really been driving change across the industry and we can throw it into the big bucket of consumerism, direct consumer play. Is that what is driving customer experience strategies at Prudential? Is that the driver?
I think there's many drivers. I think it's clear, it has been for years, that people want more simplified experiences, and the expectations are actually being driven by other industries for our industry. So when you think about your experience with Amazon, and that you get personalized recommendations, and that it's easy and seamless for you to purchase, you don't want to then go into an insurance company or financial service firm and you don't expect anything less. I think the bar is getting raised because expectations are higher across many industries. And then I think what we do in our sector, there's a lot of opportunities. It's not just digital. I mean, clearly technology changes the way that we can engage and people experience us. One of the early insights that we had was that you kind of assumed that this was just young people wanting to do things digitally, and that maybe older people or seniors would still rely on their old traditional ways of getting business done. But what we found is that no, it crosses all generations, and that being able to engage digitally is important. Most of our customers will still tell you that they still rely on the value of a financial professional for their advice and to make decisions. And so why they want to do things digitally and they want access and tools, they also need the support of their financial professional. So I think digital and technology is a component of it, but I think it's much broader when we think about what actually we can do to enable a better experience.
So the agent is obviously still key to the value chain for insurance. And I don't think that's going away for a long time. So how do you support agents in impacting customer experiences, making the customer experience better for the policyholder, or is it just focused on policyholders?
Yeah, I think we look at it holistically. So it's important for us not only to listen to and hear what our customers are saying, but also what our financial professionals are telling us that matters. And some of those things are different. So sometimes our customers will tell us that it's really after the sale, like you mentioned earlier, set it and forget it, that they want more contact and engagement. They don't want to just talk to us when they have a claim. There are things that we can do to help them better manage their life, help them solve their financial challenges even before they get to a claim. And for an advisor, it may be even before the sale. There may be things that they need that help make the experience more frictionless, easier for them to do business. And so we kind of look at it holistically. I can give you an example. There was, in our life insurance business, we heard customers talk about the importance of really understanding how their life insurance would perform over time, what coverage they had, how it would change in different market conditions. And historically, that's very paper-based in our industry. Financial planner would go back to an initial document, look at what was sold, look at an illustration on a piece of paper. What we realized was that this was a great opportunity to do something really different, make it easy for our financial professionals to have that conversation with their customers, and for our customers to really see the value of what they bought, understand how their life insurance actually was working. So we developed this digital tool that we call Life Insight. That capability was actually developed for the financial professional, even though the customer need was identified. We brought it to the financial professionals first. And that's been a real game changer for us in being able to enable our financial professionals to really easily be able to have conversations with their customers about the life insurance policy.
I would imagine I just went through the process to look at a rather large whole life policy for my family. And it was a paper-based process. And it was a little frustrating because I had a bunch of questions. And as a consumer, I wasn't just relying on projections based on paper. And I would imagine it makes the agent's job so much easier when you can answer those questions through a digital channel as opposed to just paper-based.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've really invested in at Prudential is kind of what we would call the end-to-end digital capabilities, so that you can do everything electronically, e-signature, electronic underwriting, electronics, DocuSigns, everything that, every pain point that either from a customer or an advisor standpoint that you can enable. And I think in the current climate that we're in, I have seen this social post that said, what drove your company's digital transformation? Was
COVID-19.
it your CEO? No, it was COVID.
Yeah.
So I think environment definitely helps to accelerate and help people recognize the value of these capabilities to really improve the experience and make it easier. And I know we've been able to implement a lot of these electronic changes, but it has, if anything, I think that if I'm looking for a silver lining in this pandemic, it is those capabilities that I think will benefit both our customers as well as our advisors.
Well, I know Prudential's been embracing digital for quite a while, and any other insurance carriers that have been fighting digital, I think are going to be forced now to embrace it. I don't think there's any other choice. It is a silver lining of some struggles that we're going through right now. So Prudential has been a traditional life insurance carrier. Now they want to be a global financial services company. How are you making that happen? If you could unpack that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that it's just, the company's been able to rely on a pretty strong foundation, been in business for over 150 years. And when we look at kind of the current pandemic and what that's doing, just, to society and to us as people, I mean, the needs for protection and safety have never been more important than ever. And so when you think about like a company like Prudential and the investments that we've made to ensure that we're meeting the needs, not just of our current customers, but also future customers. When I think about some of the transformations, some of the things or steps that we've done is in the past year, we've acquired a company called Assurance, which enables us to be able to connect and reach the middle market. That is a huge population that has needs for protection, but that we traditionally, they might not normally have access or meet with an agent. And so through the capabilities of Assurance, we're able to digitally connect and find customers who have these needs. And if they want to buy digitally, we can do that, but we can also match directly with an agent. And so I think that acquisition and those capabilities are a good example more recently of what we're doing to expand the market and potential. And then I also think that just more broadly, I think, the company's got a great purpose. And I think in times like this, there are companies, I heard someone say the other day, if you're searching for your purpose right now, you're in trouble. And I think what Prudential really has is a strong promise or purpose for its customers, which has always been about solving the financial challenges in a changing world, and things couldn't be changing more than ever. So even, most recently, we've made changes that have really tried to help it make it easier for customers to do business with, because that true purpose of helping to meet their needs, we recognize people can't make premium payments right now, that advisors, are stuck in their homes. They're, these are people who are out on the road, face to face with their clients, and that the world has changed. So we needed to adapt and make it easier for them to do business in a different way. We've increased our social media engagement, and our teams have really helped make sure that our advisors can connect and our wholesalers can connect to their customers online. So I think, like we were saying, Prudential's made great steps to to think about the future of work. And if anything, the pandemic has accelerated and kind of affirmed some of the actions that have been underway.
Great. So Melissa, I know you and I are big Rolling Stones fans, and
Oh, God,
I love the I love the support. What's the word I'm looking for? Of the tour this summer, right? So and that was part of the Alliance for Lifetime Income. So how are you utilizing the Alliance for Lifetime Income to impact customer experience?
Yeah, talk about an awesome experience. I mean,
I'm sure.
The first one we talked about sponsoring the Rolling Stones, my first reaction was like, oh boy, this probably doesn't fit with a traditional industry, a more conservative industry. But what I quickly realized is that Stones fans are exactly the people, the demographic, they're at that point in their life where they're thinking about their retirement and trying to plan. And so when you think about an incredible experience, is the Rolling Stones have really opened up an opportunity for us to talk to all of their fans about the importance around planning for income and preparing for the future. And what's been amazing is that The fans come to the stadium early. They spend hours, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
talking and tailgating. And we've had thousands of conversations with so many of the fans about annuities and the value that income and protection can provide in their life. And what's so interesting to me is just how many people don't even know about it. So
Right.
it basically has opened up a door for us to be able to help people make some better financial choices. And it's helped broaden the conversation, because even from a press standpoint, I think most of the articles I saw after the sponsorship were basically like, you know, why do the Stones want you to buy an annuity? Why do the Stones care about protection? And as they say, you know, you can't always get what you want,
Right.
but you need, which is this protection. So I'm really glad that that they saw the value of this non-traditional partnership, and that people like you have been able to enjoy their concerts. It's
Well,
unfortunate right now, I know.
yeah, that everything's canceled, but it's nice that Mick and the boys are concerned about our retirement, right?
Yes, yes.
So,
They understand longevity, right?
sure they
They
do. Sure they do. Just
yeah.
ask Keith Richards. So, uh, you know, PwC recently published an article. It's time for a consumer-centered metric, introducing return on experience. It's a new way of tracking the results of investments in customer and employee experiences. How are you measuring the results of your experience initiatives?
Yeah, I love the phrase, if it doesn't get measured, it doesn't matter. And I think it is important to measure. First, it's important to listen. A lot of the things that we've done in setting up an experience capability at Prudential have been to establish some of the foundational tools to actually be able to measure and to listen to our customers and advisors, and not just make assumptions about what they think or wait until we could do a research study. So we have been able to build some of the capabilities that we can actively listen, ask questions, get feedback real time. So like with COVID-19, we've been able to actually understand real time what our customers are asking about, what are their needs, and that's informed what we've actually done from a service perspective. More broadly, some of the measures that we track are making sure we understand what our net promoter score is, our ease
Mhm.
of doing business, our satisfaction, our relationship. And, you know, I think what's so important about actively tracking this stuff is that it changes. So we were talking earlier how other industries set the bar for us, and that bar keeps going up. So even though we're making improvements ourselves, the expectations keep getting higher. So the gap,
Sure.
we still have to keep changing. So I think, you know, measurement, I think, is an important tool, and we're able to actually take these measures, and we not only do they bubble up to our executive leadership, but we also embed them in our teams.
Mhm.
So we were talking earlier about the importance of service and the service experience. We give those measures to our service reps, and they're able to actively see what's working, what's not working. And it's so nice for the managers, because you can actually, through the measurements and the tools, you can actually congratulate people and thank people on the service teams for the work that they're doing, because you can see the feedback coming in directly from our customers. So it's actually a really powerful way to not only figure out if you're doing the right things and making the right impact, but also support your teams and your talent.
Fantastic. And you know, as a headhunter, I am focused on acquiring the type of talent that my client needs to impact strategies like this. However, you can make an argument that this type of talent isn't naturally coming from the insurance industry. Is Prudential looking outside of the insurance sector for this type of talent?
I think looking outside the sector and also looking outside the traditional pillars. I think, you know, what's so interesting to me is like what is it? I'd be curious to hear your opinion about what
Mhm.
capabilities or what are the features that you think are most important in the talent. And what I've found is that people who have a passion for this, that really care about the customer, one of the interesting things that is probably underrated capability is empathy.
Mhm.
Um, it comes through our customer service surveys all the time, how important empathy is, especially in financial services.
Yep.
It's a simple thing, but yet it often lacking in how companies define their experience strategy. And you can do little things that can materially, I think, impact the experience of your customer. I know when we were setting up this call, I was having a problem with my Apple AirPods. I recently had a call with Apple. I was at the grocery store and my phone was buzzing, saying that someone had hacked my phone in Bolivia, in Mexico. It was up all over the world. So I picked up the phone, I called Apple, and it was interesting. They solved the problem, but their empathy, just the words that they used on the phone with me made a huge difference. They said, I'm sure, Mrs. Kivett, this is incredibly concerning to you, but I want to make sure you know that by the time we hang up this phone call, you're going to be safe. It's going to be okay. And it was interesting that they didn't just focus on the problem, but just those few words made a huge difference in my trust that they actually were not only be able to fix it, but that they were, really did care that they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I think empathy is a key word. And I think you can look at numerous studies with people that are just starting their careers, young people that are just figuring out what they want to do with their life. And there are two things that continue to come up. Young folks want to join exciting, dynamic industries that are going through a lot of change. And I think that defines insurance, right?
Yep.
And they want to make a difference. And I think there are very few industries that are quite as mission driven as the insurance industry. And I think the industry itself has a great opportunity to demonstrate, just like you talked about, young people's ability to join an industry that can bring that mission driven approach to impact the lives of policyholders that are looking to Pru to help them make financial choices and decisions, and to ensure that the retirement is good.
Yeah, it matters more than ever.
Yeah. So how is traditional, non-traditional insurance adapting to the modern market? What is Prudential doing to continuously develop talent? Can you speak on that?
Absolutely. I think we've got great teams, and one of the I think opportunities is actually moving people across different functions. So I love when people come, for example, from sales into experience or marketing, or from service. I think that cross-functional expertise or just their perspectives change. I think it's also about having a diversity of talent, having people, to me, diversity is a lot about diversity of thought and how we can bring people's life experiences and perspectives. Using this current pandemic as an example, we know that Black Americans are disproportionately affected by this, and understanding what their experience is and what we can do specifically for them really helps us, create a better strategy for the business. So I think it's a mixture of, I'd say, cross-functional, different diversity of experience, and going back to those points around, looking for people that are really passionate, that can help us think differently about the business. I think that's where we've had some great success at Prudential, is really bringing those teams together. And I think another great thing that we've done in terms of developing talent is just also the way that we work. So we work in an agile environment, and these people who work in agile, they tend to, like I say, they never want to go back. It's such a dynamic, innovative way to empower teams of people, regardless of what level you're at, to make decisions, to really think differently and creatively about what you can do. And I've seen real great talent thrive in these environments. And, people go so far as to call me and say, if you ever move me off a team like this, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
This is great.
That must be really rewarding. And, to the point of diversity, I always tell clients is, if you don't have a diverse leadership team, how can you really understand the products and services that your clients need without having that experience on the leadership team. So that's a great point. We're also seeing new insurtech companies that are entering the market and partnering with traditional carriers to improve the customer experience. I'm assuming that's why Prudential acquired Assurance IQ, correct?
I think it brings new capabilities. So like we were saying before, Assurance allows us to actually reach more what I would call middle market customers. It brings in new technology. So it allows us to actually, very much like if you imagine Uber, where they're matching demand and supply, we're able to do that with our service, with our agents. And we're also able to use data to actually better understand what your needs are. So like I often talk about, like with television, that, we don't need 500 channels. We just need our channel. And I think Netflix helped us understand the benefit of personalization. It's like, what is the shows that I need to watch? I don't have time to kind of search through thousands of options. And so when I think about the capabilities that Assurance brings to Prudential, it really helps to personalize an offer for you as a person about what your needs are by leveraging data and technology in new ways. And I think those capabilities are very much like when we talk about what customer needs are, is they're looking for that simple, not complicated, personalized experience. And we can do that on the front end with a company, like a capability that Assurance has. And we can also support that if people do want to continue to work through with an agent, through building those kind of what I would say simplified, frictionless experiences all the way through.
So I think you just described the insurance company of the future. Wouldn't you agree? If customer experience strategies are as impactful as they say, what do you think the insurance company of the future looks like?
I think that's a big part of it. I think it's thinking, like we started this discussion, it's thinking much broader than product. It's thinking holistically about the experience and thinking about how you can leverage these capabilities to win in a very different way. I mean, I live in New York City, and there's a restaurant that we used to go to around the corner, but I love their food, but the experience was horrible. And my husband and I, as much as we love the food, we said we couldn't go back. And those are some of the most simple examples to me of really trying to understand how important the experience is, and how people are making decisions differently, and how people are buying differently. Like you said, technology has fundamentally changed the way that we all engage and interact with each other. And so I think combining experience and thinking about the needs of our customers with our strategy, I think you're right that those are some of the key things that I think are what I would say setting companies up to win on experience for the future.
Melissa, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I think the strategies that you're executing and putting in place at Prudential are fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're able to produce in the future.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too. Thanks for the time, Jay.
You bet. Bye-bye.